Cardano's price action has been on fire recently, and in today's video we're going to be giving a big Cardano update, sharing why I am so bullish on Cardano. As you guys know, we are very big here on Cardano's ADA at the CC channel, and ultimately I think we've got some really positive things to come for the price action. Let's roll that intro and get right down into it. Hi guys, welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today we are of course going to be discussing Cardano's ADA. There's a lot of things to discuss in today's video, but we're going to be pretty much heavily focused on why I am so bullish on ADA. Now, we can of course discuss everything that's been going on with the price action. We can of course discuss everything going on from a fundamental standpoint as well. I think the collaboration between the two is probably where I am so bullish and where I sit with Cardano's ADA. As you know, the technology is very, very solid, and it has been peer-reviewed time and time again to see such great progress happening over a long period of time. Obviously, we have seen people potentially finding the idea of slow progress being frustrating, and it can be very frustrating for many. However, I think one of the key things here is that progress has been made, and it has been very consistently made across the years as well. We first got involved in Cardano back in 2020, buying it up at sub 8 cent levels, and it was fantastic to be in Cardano so early. We saw fantastic highs up at $3.10, and we have seen a pretty decent correction since. Now, we thought that Cardano's ADA was going to bottom out at around 22 cent in 2022. We obviously saw this more in 2023, and although we actually were anticipating a little bit deeper, more towards 18 to 15 cent ADA, it's good to see that actually progression here for Cardano's price action has been very aggressive, basically presenting itself with a bottom at 22 cent. So as we can jump into the charts here, we can see some interesting growth for Cardano. Before we really start to dive into what the long-term future for Cardano looks like, we can see that we have a very clear impulsive break to the upside, where I still see we have a potential move a little bit higher. We can also see that potentially we topped out here, but I suspect actually we've got one more blast up top, probably more towards that kind of 74 cent before we actually move on down. Let me show you where I currently think we could potentially be looking here. So we can see that we have this area right on that 236 fib scale right here. I'm going to go ahead and delete this fib off right here, so you can see this yellow box is where we're targeting. So for those who do not follow Elliott Wave theory, we're looking at an impulsive breakout to the upside here, and what we're looking for is that 0.236 fib scale kind of being tested as our fifth wave high point. We might wick up a little bit more, but I don't suspect that we'll get a close position above there. This will then lead us into our accumulative phase. This would be a big correction for Cardano, where we can take advantage of sub 30 cent prices, in my opinion. There's a few interesting zones, I think, specifically down here from a technical standpoint that really are of interest to me, coming in between 31.46 and 32.98. This is where I imagine that most of the support is going to be found, and this of course is subject to first of all losing this slightly higher level just up here as well, coming in more at the 38 to 42 cent level. But we are looking for a nice healthy correction for Cardano, and this correction is going to be a huge opportunity for those who have already gotten involved in Cardano or are looking to dollar cost average and build bigger positions when it comes to Cardano. Let's go ahead and zoom out of this just a little bit, because Elliott Wave theory can sometimes be confusing. So let's go ahead and take a look at where we were back in 2020 and 2021. As we can see, we had this interesting move to the upside, a wave 2 that was actually quite tame. It didn't move down all that aggressively. And then we had a really good wave 3, a short correction for wave 4, and then a final fifth wave movement that truncated, basically meaning that it fell short of its target. Now, with this particular structure for Cardano, this was a great move. It kind of found our lows at 1.7 cent, and we saw great growth to the upside. And we were able to take advantage of this dip in the wave 2 to buy into that fantastic wave 3 and 4 and 5. Now, when we have Elliott Wave theory like this, it's important that we understand that when you have a 5-wave pattern like we have seen in the charts, that is basically going to be mirrored further down the line. Essentially, you cannot just have 5-wave impulsive structures just randomly appear on the charts. And so because we have seen this 5-wave pattern for Cardano in 2020 and 2021, that puts us in a really strong position for 2024 and 2025. Let me zoom out of this chart and show you exactly what I mean. So although we've kind of tracked this idea of a nice 5-wave move to the upside, we look for this correction before we get into that bigger impulsive move, right? This I liken to our wave 1 and wave 2 situation, where this retracement coming back down towards 30 cent is going to be the wave 2 equivalent of what we saw back in 2020. From here, I imagine that we're going to see another 5-wave impulsive break to the upside, but this time it'll be a lot more aggressive than we had seen previously. And this will allow us to then take stock of the entire situation as a impulsive movement on a macro scale. As you can see, our 1.618 would be $2.30. So we can go ahead and put in a little wave kind of 3 situation occur right inside here. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and draw this in so you guys can see this in a little bit more detail. Okay, so we'd have this 5-wave move to the upside. This will be met by another correction to the downside and then an additional 5-wave move to the upside. And again, what's going to happen here, guys, is this is all going to be a giant 5-wave pattern, a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and finally a wave 5, which means the growth for Cardano is quite clear to see. Based on buying behaviors and buying patterns in previous cycles and previous years, this behavior is likely to get mirrored back forward into 24-25 or year 2024-2025, and that growth potential is pretty explosive. So when we take a look at our chart once again here, we can see that we are going to be expecting some pretty decent price appreciation for Cardano and a couple of opportunities to dollar cost average into slightly bigger positions, with my main targets being kind of around this area, $5.34 to $12.73. This essentially is going to be the 0.618 to the 0.786 Fibonacci sequencing level. Now, it's possible that we have a real fantastic break and we maybe surge up even higher, with the 1-to-1 ratio sitting at $38.44 for Cardano. It's pretty mind-blowing to think that the price of Cardano could explode that high, even potentially higher, more towards potentially $130 should everything line up perfectly well for Cardano. It's very unlikely that we're going to go and surge that high in 2024 and 2025, which is why I say it's more important to be focusing in more around that $5 to $12 range, as I believe that is the one that is most likely to occur. So as you can see from a technical standpoint or from a technical analysis standpoint, Cardano has a lot to offer. It has some pretty decent potential for explosive moves to the upside, whilst the technology itself is also incredibly strong, with thousands upon thousands of dApps being developed on the ecosystem. Total value locked growing immensely. I think Cardano is a recipe for success in the longer term. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And if you are interested, you should probably check out this video here where we discuss more of our favorite cryptocurrencies.